I'm wearing my fingers out. What is the key? What are the keys to learning how to play an instrument? The first one, the most important one, is, and this reminds me, I was at orchestra and I was talking to a woman that plays a violin, and she told me that she didn't feel that she was good enough to invest in a really good instrument. And I kind of disagree. I think if you're actually going to continue, you need to buy an instrument that is going to last you a while, that you just can't keep your hands off of. This thing is amazing, this Hofner bass. I mean, I just set it against a chair and just stare at it. It's like, I gotta touch it, I gotta touch it. I just gotta keep playing it. And that is that. I mean, don't cheap out. I could say if you're just a student and you don't know if you want to play, then you don't get a cheap thing. But if you have it in your mind that you are going to continue, buy a good instrument. Buy a good instrument. And so I didn't make it to my play gig last night. It's kind of a loose thing. A lot of good musicians were going to turn up last night. But in this area, the farther north you go, the less attention the road crews pay to plowing the streets. And it was one of those deals where I'd have to drive 15 miles. And it doesn't seem like a long way, but when you're starting to get on unplowed roads and the snow is like beating against your face, so you got that choice of, do I turn the brights on and get more reflection from the snow, or turn the dims on and see 30 feet in front of your car? It's like, not worth it. So I came back and played 3 hours, because how I work it is I break practice is work, but that doesn't mean it can't be fun. Is I will drill, and I'll get into some of that, just slow. Best way to learn how to play faster is practice slow. And then just playing along with other people. So last night was Beatles night. I came back, bought some Guinness Extra Stout. Actually Guinness Draft, because they didn't have Extra Stout. I'm surprised Guinness sells Draft, because it's not as good. And a bag of white cheddar popcorn, which is important to your practice. And had just couple Guinness, because I like to keep my mind about me, make practice worthwhile, and put it on YouTube. The Beatles, 2.5 hours of the Beatles' greatest hits, and just tried my best to play along with them. And then the rest was just drilling. Now, kind of unfamiliar with this. I'm kind of familiar with the mandolin, but these things are a whole different animal, really. A longer neck. The fretting is still the same. And I want to learn, unlike the violin and the viola, where it's mostly just sound, you know, because there's no frets, understanding the fretboard. And this thing is amazing, because think of it as like just your scales. The whole thing repeats itself. Think of it, this fretboard, and then this fretboard. And if you notice, if you're sly of thought, let's listen to this. I don't even know the letter names of the strings, but this one is the same as at the 12th. At the 12th, where there's 2 dots, and it's the same up here on the higher string at the 7th. See, that's the same note. A fa. That note is a fa. And on the same string at the 12th. So part of my drill is just I'm paying attention to my picking hand, where I have to be very conscious of, and I'm doing an alternating thing, except when I jump strings, and I might do the same one slow. Where I'm doing it slow because I want to pay attention to proper form. And also, this is tricky. If you want to get into improvising, which is the fun art of musicianship, is being able to take this fingerboard, it's one, but I'm considering it more than one, this fingerboard, and then reproducing it up here. And so I'm going to start up on this one when I do the scales. The double dots, that's the double dot fret. Each of the scales, where I we'll do it up and down on down here on this fingerboard and then jump up here. So I get this idea that if I want to jump into a whole different octave, I know that this note is the same note as up here. And again, alternating and knowing which way to jump. Now, especially on the mandolin, when you have to go up and down this way, you actually have to work out the song or work it out in your mind that you're starting with an upstroke or a downstroke, you know, to be able to make those runs up and down. So every time you play it, you're starting either up or you're playing it down. And so I've been working on this one, the mystery song. But then again, just, you know, which way you do it. And I have to slow myself down because I tend to like shift this and then start to cheat, you know, as how I'm holding my hand. So I have to be very careful that I'm either maintaining a stopping against that bottom string or muting it with the next one. Where I hold my thumb, and so as a beginning bass player I have to just play very slow so I can get the mechanics down. Anyway, I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to stop torturing you. Get ready to play some more. It's still about nothing degrees out there, so this is a good day to play. This is a good day to play. And if you have it in your mind that, like, you can't do that, you're not musically inclined, keep in mind a lot of it is just drilling over and over again. Do, 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 do. So you build those things into your mind and into your muscle memory. So it's not a natural thing. It is a lot of work. Have a good one. I appreciate you watching. And I hope that at least one person out there that watches my videos gets inspired to pick up a musical instrument or start making your own bows. I don't have a lot of viewers, but I keep getting messages and emails, and I give my phone number out if you want it, saying that thank you, you've inspired me to do this. And that's what it's all about. Spreading the knowledge, spreading the will to do something. Coffee number 2 is about time to be drunk.